It's a robust.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joya Lageray, and I'm here with the Davanos today. Let's start out with Sherry Batista, and he's over here. There we go. Fred is in the back. Fred Holtzman is the drummer. Jerry's the lead, and our bass player here is Greg. Let's see. Oh gosh, I hope I got that right, Greg.
Close enough.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce or give it promotion to my sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Quist in Edgewood, Washington. He's primarily set up for drummers and guitarists. However, he does do other things. He records most of everything that I give him. And I know he has other people. So if you have any needs, you can find him on Facebook. Just go to Chad Quist or Luscious Moss Studio, and you'll get his number, his address, and all the information that you need. So let's begin, guys. I was out on Friday night, and I saw you guys perform all night. And I was amazed that you have a way of drawing people in and keeping them dancing. I couldn't even get on that dance floor. It was so full. So, Cherry, I'm going to start with you and go around. Yeah. Hi. Oh, wait a minute. I got somebody commenting here. This is Rodney Landert from the Hot Rod Stirs Band, and he's saying hello to us.
Hey, man. Hey.
So, Jerry, I'm going to ask you for a short bio on how you got started and what instruments you were playing and how you got to where you are today, 20 years ago, forming your band, or the band, Davanos.
Well, I started playing guitar when I was around 10. Is that what you mean there? Yes. And my dad played and my grandfather played. And so I learned from them, and mostly Italian songs. And then the rock and roll bug got me, and you know, it's just, I didn't look back. Is she there? Yep.
I'm there. I just wanted them to see you, all of you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you started, how old were you when you picked up the guitar?
Around 10.
Oh.
Sometimes I always say I started in the womb, because my dad and grandpa played all the time, and my mom sang and played piano. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's kind of brave. What happened between the time that you were 10 and the time you got into the Davanos, you formed the Davanos? How did that all come about?
Oh, man.
And it's just a short journey.
From 10 to the Davanos? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what if we just jump ahead? I mean, I was in a number of bands, that I was in a band called the Allies in the early 80s. We had a hit called M Appeal. And I was in a few original bands and throughout my career there. But then, I met Fred in 2000, and we were in a band called, was it Red Ball Jets? You were in that one? Groove Stock, yeah. And then I left that band to join the Dusty 45s, and then talked Fred into starting a new band called the Davanos. And we had to come up with a name quickly, and we didn't think we'd be together this long, that's for sure. But so we had 2 or 3 names we had came up with. One was Pleasure Boat. Do you remember the other one besides Davanos? No, I don't either. Yeah. So, but Davanos won out, and that's what my parents and my grandparents used to call a couch, was a Davenport or a Davano. And that's all I got to say about that.
No, well, that was quite a bit. We do have a few comments here. I hate to interrupt this, but I have somebody saying, hi, guys, who didn't tell me their name, so we don't know who you are to say hi to you. Spencer says he feels like he's aged poorly after looking at his phone screen. I'm not sure what that means.
Hey, Spence. Hi, Spencer.
And somebody said peanut butter. Now, I have no reference for that, except I like it. And we also have another commenter. Please put your names on there when you comment, saying, right on. I wonder who that reminds you of.
Yeah. Huh.
And another, hi guys, boy, this thing's going wild. Hey, these people, the Davanos, we'll be happy to answer afterwards. They can answer some of the things that we won't be able to get to if you storm my messenger. So we'll make comments. I will make comments afterwards, and hopefully one of these three guys will too. That brings me to you, Fred.
Lean on in, Fredo.
Howdy.
This chair's, this is good, huh? Yeah.
How you doing?
Fredo.
Yeah,
The
I'm fine.
incredible
Where did you start, Fred? When did you start playing those drums? Because you do it well. I also want to make a comment here. When I got back into music, excuse me, after a short sabbatical of 3 years, the first band I played with was Fred, was the drummer. Excuse me, left over from garbage. Anyway,
Here's some water.
thank you. And of course, Taryn didn't know my music. It was country music. And Ted was right in my face trying to figure out what chords I was playing. And all I had to do was follow the drummer. He knew all the licks and everything, where to, come in and the whole thing. It was beautiful. So what was your backstory, Fred?
Thanks, Jim. I started as a singer, really, and my brother was the drummer. And then the drums were in the garage, and I said, heck, I can do this. So instead of changing all the drums around, I just moved the ride cymbal over to the left because I'm left-handed. That made me become right-footed for the bass. And I always sang to know where I was at in the song because I didn't have a stereo in the garage. And that's how I can sing and play at the same time. But yeah, I didn't start until I was about probably 15, and then started playing in the band when I was like 16.
There was a rumor I heard, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. You have to forgive me. I don't know what's going on here. But I heard a rumor that you, excuse me, please, everybody. I'm so sorry. I gotta back out here for a minute.
Here, Joy, I have a Ricola for you.
Yeah, it might have been the deodorant I'm wearing.
I don't know. I shouldn't have used perfume, I guess. Anyway, where were we? Oh, the rumor that you and Jerry went to school together. Is that true?
Nope.
No, of course
no.
That was a vicious lie.
He was out of school.
Vicious lie.
When I got into school, Jerry was already out.
Oh, Jerry. I think that makes you older.
Yeah. I just look like the oldest guy in the band, but I'm not.
You look mature.
Yes.
Well, you don't look like the oldest guy on the band when you're up there on those drums.
Yeah, that would be me.
Oh, no. So we have a few more comments here. It says, going to do a country version of Emma Peel. I'm not sure what that's all about.
That's the song that
That's the
Allies song that they still played on the radio, but a country version of Emma Peel. Not a bad idea.
He's a fiddle player. All right. Somebody said I went to school with Fred.
Oh, right on.
So tell us who you are so he knows. Anyway, a lot of love you guys and going on here, but let's get back to where you were, I guess, because I get distracted easily. That brings you on, Greg. Your backstory, how you got started. And I understand that you're kind of you're some kind of award winner, and I'll let you tell us about that.
Well, I got a couple of blue medal, ribbons for being able to walk straight when I was 3 years old. But no, I was fortunate in my musical career. I ended up being doing musical scores for documentaries and television and a couple of films, and I ended up winning a couple of Emmy awards. So
that's very
He's
impressive.
Wow. He's a big shot.
And he's pretty good with electronics.
Yes.
Oh, I
Anyway.
know how to get in a lot of trouble with electronics.
I get that. So how is it that you where did you start with your bass playing or playing? I don't really know all the instruments you play.
I
And
grew
how'd
up
you
in
connect
San
with the
Diego.
Davanos?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm a San Diego kid, and
Oh, okay.
I started at about 10 or 11 playing keyboards. And then when I saw the Beatles playing, I wanted to be Paul McCartney. So I sold my keyboards and bought a bass guitar and played in a couple of little bands in San Diego. Then I joined a band called The Generations, which were on RCA Records way back in the 60s. And we toured a couple of times. And that band became one called Tacoma. And the record company gave us that name. And that band had, there's a couple of songs on YouTube with Tacoma with me as a young 20-year-old singer. And then I played in a couple of other bands for a couple of years and then got a job in television and gave it all up for about 20 years and started playing music again when I came up here to the Seattle area and played in a couple of other bands, and then saw the Davanos playing, and a friend of mine took me to see them, and I go, that's the band I wish I was in. And about 6 months later, I was in the band. So it worked out well for me.
Did you have to audition?
Can I tell
Yeah,
a story?
yeah,
So our bass player at the time, we had a couple bass players, Dana Brown and Donnie Wilhelm. And Donnie, so we were set to play a New Year's Eve show, sold out at Emory. So I think we did like 5 years in a row there. And anyway, Donnie got in a car accident. He was driving his Volkswagen bus and hit some black ice and sorry, Sophia, and rolled it and broke his shoulder and couldn't play. And this was 2 days before New Year's Eve. And so I called a bunch of people, and I called Greg. I remember meeting him. And did you play with us once before?
I think I played like a 45-minute set with you guys at Caps Club.
That's right. So I called up Greg, and I was, in my mind, I was thinking, no, he's working. He's too good to be not playing on New Year's Eve. And sure enough, he was not playing. And so, I mean, we kind of never looked back. I mean, Donnie's great. I mean, he is a Seattle icon, and but he was busy with so many other bands, and so yeah, we kind of just moved forward, and since that, I think it's been 7 years now.
Yeah,
6 or 7 years. Yeah.
Wow,
And,
that's
rest
quite
in
the
peace.
story.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. At most bands today, well, I wouldn't say most, but the people that I've been interviewing, a lot of them are in, 2, 3, 4, 5 bands just to keep working, I guess. And some of them, that's how they make their living. But you guys have been together for quite some time. And I know, Jerry, you mentioned that you've given your band, the Davanos, been together 20 years. I made the mistake of saying that all three of you were for 20 years. But can you tell me which members? Was it just you and Fred for the whole time, or did you have
In
other
the
drummers?
beginning, it was Fred and I and John Case. And then John left after, I don't know, 3, 4 years. Was it? Let's see. We started 2003. So actually, it's about 3 years. And then we got Joe Shikani on bass. And he was, I mean, a Seattle rock star. I don't know if you've heard of Joe, but he was a great guitar player, singer, and he played bass for us. I mean, it was a little daunting, having Joe Shikani over there playing bass while I'm playing guitar. And unfortunately, in 2008, we lost him. He said, I'm going to go on vacation for a week, and we got Dana Brown to fill in for him. And while he was on vacation at his cabin in just north of Spokane, there's a windstorm, and he went out and checked on his boat. Around, I don't know what time it was, but a tree fell on him while I was checking on his boat and killed him. Unfortunately, really bizarre and sad story.
Yeah.
And so then, then we got so Dana was our bass player for quite a while. After that, he wasn't expecting, he thought he was just filling in for a week, and then we got Donnie Wilhelm and Larry Leonard's for a bit, who was in the Pop-Offs.
Yeah.
And go back to John Case, and he plays in the Hot Rodsters now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know him. I mean, if I seen him, I wouldn't recognize him.
Oh, he's
I
great.
think,
Yeah,
yeah.
great voice, great player, good guy. Yeah.
other than Rodney's got a hot fiddle.
Yeah. I
I-
haven't seen him yet. I've just seen some video, but yeah, they're great.
Oh, yeah, they came out to Sam's and he played, and they go into the crowd, and his lead Drew and Rodney go out into the crowd, and when they come up to your table and they're doing the fiddle to the music, it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Draws you in. So with that being said, there are other comments on here. I'm sorry, guys, that I can't get to you, but we will get to you after if we don't see your name, and I don't see names on here. So,
Oh,
all right.
too bad.
So the next question I have, I mean, I know we kind of covered this pretty fast, but how did you develop your repertoire? I mean, the songs that you do, I can't really place them in any genre, but the ones that I heard on Friday night, some are recognizable, some weren't. But when I hear you play in other places, you have a lot of songs out there that you do extremely well. So how did you all decide on songs, and how did that all form itself over the last 20 years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, some of the ones that you didn't recognize may have been originals too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But Fred, I've been talking a lot. You want to answer that?
Well, no, everybody brings songs in that they want to sing usually.
Yeah. What fits our voices?
Yeah, because we're all singers. So you try to find a song, everybody say, oh, you sound just like that guy. Well, that's the point. That's why I picked that song to sing.
Right.
And we try to do songs that not every band's playing in every club,
Yeah, like Brown Eyed Girl and all that.
Oh,
I mean, we
I love that
know
song.
those songs, and they're not on our list, but it's they're not the band's most bands' favorite songs to play. They've just been so overdone,
Yeah.
Mustang Sally and
Yeah.
but you know what? Every time we play it and somebody requests it, it packs the floor.
Yeah, they're great songs. It's just you've been playing them. You played them when you were doing the clubs for 6 or 7 nights a week. You played those songs every night.
Yeah.
It's good country line dance when it's done in country, and people do it. They pack the floor. I even get off the bus stand and dance with them. So
yeah,
all of them do. Sharp Dressed Man, Brown Eyed Girl, Mustang Sally.
Fred knows all those terms.
Hands to Yourself.
Little Sister.
I sang all those songs for years. We call those turds. I was the turd master. I sang all the songs and nobody really, all the players were going, God, I gotta play this again tonight. I said, yeah, and I gotta sing it.
The old days, the agents would almost kind of tell you what to play, almost,
right? Songs you gotta put on your list.
Yeah, if you want to play this room like Pier 70 back in the day, which is now the waterfront. So it just put a bad taste in my mouth, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do, and we're going to put our own spin on all these songs. And a lot of times people tell us that, they like our version better than the artist that did
I heard that song on the radio the other day, and I hate it.
That's a great compliment, and and we're not really a cover band, I mean, we are, but we also do a lot of original tunes and put our own spin on almost every song, And if people say that's not the way it goes, and I'm like, tough.
Hope not.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing a lot of songs that originally had 6 or 7 people in the band and had horns and had keyboards and another guitar player, and it's due to the fact that Jerry can do multitask on the guitar. This guy can play like 3 different parts at the same time. Yeah, and I've never played with anybody that can do that kind of thing. So it allows us to sound. I call it we davonate all our sounds. All the songs have been davonated. So they come out sounding like the Davanos, no matter what they were originally.
And Fred has the best saying ever. If there's a song you want to hear, go listen to it in your car.
Yeah, I remember that, Fred. Oh, Lord. When all in all, when you first started out, how many years do you think it was before the club started coming to you?
It took a while, you know. It did take a while. I mean, 10 years,
Oh,
maybe.
really?
Yeah, I mean, where we really started getting a good following, and
Jerry was still playing with the Dusty 45s and taking off on tour and
Yeah,
doing
so
other stuff. So
yeah,
his focus really wasn't on the Davanos as much, because Dusty 45 is a great band, you know, and they were doing stuff, you know, they were recording a bunch
they're
of
still a great
CDs.
band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a great band.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was divided his time up. And then, yeah, since he left there, yeah,
It's taken off.
it's hard not to find a date where you're open.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. No, Greg, you came. I was at the Oxford. They have a jam there from 6 to 9, hosted by Jerry Batista, and I heard you sing. And the first time you got on the mic, you had this strong voice, and it came out, and I wasn't prepared. My mind just left me. It was gone.
From years and years of singing opera.
Oh.
No, I just, yeah, that's the only way I know how to sing. You know, I've been doing it since many years now.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, nobody wants to follow him. We go. So I don't know if you noticed, but we go around the horn. You know, we all take turns. Each one, you know, takes turns singing, and so I'll usually start the night off, and then it goes to Greg, and then Fred has to follow Greg.
Yeah.
But then I got to follow Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys both have great voices, and each voice is so completely different.
Yeah,
which is
Yes.
cool. But we
And
all
yet
blend.
they blend. They
Yeah,
blend
yeah.
so well. Right. Anyways, my question just escaped me, but when Kurt takes pictures a lot, and he took some pictures that I posted some of them. But the funny thing is, you know that little Muppet character that you have on your drums, Fred?
Animal.
Your expressions and his expressions were so much alike. Every time you change it, you just have to see the pictures. That's so cool.
They've been calling me Animal for a long time.
So Rodney Landert said, "You guys are a great band," and he wants to thank you. He's the Hot Rosters.
Oh yeah.
The Hot Rosters. He wants to thank you for the years of great music. So.
Oh, thanks,
thank
Rodney.
you.
Appreciate
And
that.
Hey, right back at you, dude.
Yeah.
I used to watch him in the 80s when he
Really?
was a drummer, a
Oh,
great
yes.
drummer.
Yes,
band
he
called
was. He told me
Shades.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have a comment from somebody named Brett Weir.
Brett Weir?
Yeah.
Seriously?
That's gotta be John
Seriously,
Cage.
W-I-E-R.
Okay, go ahead. I got to hear this.
No, that's all. It just put his name on there and with exclamation marks. So I'm not sure what
Get
that
me
is.
Brett Weir.
That's got to be John.
And
Brett Weir.
Is that an alias?
It's
No,
Brett
it's-
Weir's from the Jerky Boys.
oh,
Yeah. Get me Brett Weir, I said. It's you'd have to hear it. It's
okay.
I listened to those two guys. They were both listening to that thing at the same time.
well, I
And
turned
they-
John onto it.
They
yeah.
started talking back and forth. I had no idea what was going on. They keep doing all these quotes from this thing. It's like, okay.
They do you know, back in the days you could do prank phone calls, and they'd call these guys.
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
Now
Yeah.
I can remember doing calling up a club and asking if they had pop in a can.
Oh
Let them out, you know.
yeah.
So I'm trying to get to some of these people, but there's a Paul Johnson from Idaho, and he said he loved the days in the China Clipper.
Oh man.
Yeah, right on.
Oh, what's
That's
that about?
parking-
Huh?
Well, it was just around the corner of 205th and 99, and we played there quite a bit. That, and there was another club a few doors up called Sparky's. Right? Yeah.
Sparky's. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Paul.
We played there quite a bit.
And
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things
I
are
do.
moving pretty fast. I don't think I've ever seen this many comments in my life.
Oh,
So,
let's hear them.
well, I can't because there's no way for me to scroll up. I mean, if I don't get them when they come in, so can
Can
you?
we see them later?
Yes, yes. If you go back on to mature musicians, they will show up,
Okay.
and anything on Facebook will show up too.
And we'll write down all our answers and bring them out to the next gig.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a plug. I gotta say something about that. You just absolutely have to see these guys. If you don't know who the Davanos are, you've missed something important in this area. So I'm going to ask you guys what, and any one of you can answer. It's kind of up to who gets to the mic first. But what was going on? Knowing how often you're booked and how often you play, what was happening during COVID? How did your band survive that?
Anybody? Well, Greg and I did a lot of recording of my original tunes, and it's yet to be released, but it will be soon. So we did a lot of that. We did actually a few shows for who was it?
Yeah.
The Growler guys.
Yeah.
In Seattle, and we did it here. But we also did a show on my back deck, and had all the neighbors show up, and so that was kind of fun. And because we hadn't played in quite a while, we didn't know if we were going to remember the songs or not.
I know.
Yeah. I didn't see either one of these guys for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both had COVID. I never got it. I still have never got it.
It's a miracle.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I caught it early in March of 2020. And
Yeah.
was really sick.
Mhm.
Same here.
He canceled the Saturday because we played Friday night, and then they canceled Saturday because they were both feeling sick. And then I played Sunday with the Motown Cowboys, and then on Monday they shut down the world.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I didn't see these guys for a long time.
It's funny. Right before that all happened, I was playing so often that I was on burnout. I said, man, I need a break. And then boom, that happened.
You happen.
Careful
Watch
what
what
you
you
wish.
say, Jerry. Watch what
Yeah.
you say in the future.
Yeah. I actually didn't mind the time off. I mean, I didn't think it would be that long, but I like the first 6 months, I really enjoyed the time off, and I got a lot done around the house, and but yeah.
I got that.
I have a job I run a little TV studio down in Seattle, and I was considered an essential worker. So there was a lot of stuff happening in the news here, because evidently a lot of the first cases started here in Seattle, and so I had a lot of network television people using my studio to have guests like our governor and clinicians and doctors and people talking about the pandemic. So I was keeping really busy actually for the duration of it. It was interesting hearing the doctor's point of view from it.
Yeah. Kurt, my husband, works in healthcare, and he works for Siemens, and they were getting briefings every Thursday. The inside track, but we both got it. I don't know, maybe once or twice. I can't even remember, but I think we had it 2 times.
Yeah, I had it twice.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to take about 5 minutes here. I did find a way to scroll up here and see what we're dealing with here. Sandra Lopez was in here. Somebody said, "Love you guys."
Oh,
Say who. And we had one from Spencer that says, "For being a kid who had just the music brain and suffered from weird teenage alienation, happy to be further influenced by these guys. Can't and won't ever stop playing until it's too late. Thanks for the 3 of you." That was Spencer.
thanks, Spencer. He got up and played with us at Collector's Choice.
Yes, at the last gig. Yes, on Friday
That
night.
guy's a talented guitar player and singer.
Yeah, and a good fella.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he definitely is a fine person. And I also have a comment from Libby Moser. She said the names are not up until you give permission on StreamYard. And she is correct. And I don't know why people don't see that. I'm not sure what's coming up on their screens because I've never been on the other end of this.
Oh,
And let's see, I think we have a few more here. I do want to thank all of the people here that have commented.
and hello, Elizabeth.
That's the whole point of making this live. And then I have a rather lengthy account from Tim Ogard, who said he met these guys sharing the bill on a 4th of July gig maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And as a reformed sax guy, novice guitarist, that's comma, last comment. As a I remember watching Jerry work, learning so much that I felt like I was eating. He was under the weather, which impacted their vocals. And I was fascinated watching them making adjustments and filling the sound to where you might have thought they were an orchestra.
Wow.
Saw them last summer at a gig at Dano Mac, set up at the Edmonds waterfront.
Mhm.
They
no.
apparently,
That was
yeah.
at Salish.
Yeah, Salish Sea Brewery.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Right on, Tim.
And then a final comment. It says Patrick Coy says hi. I don't know Patrick. And another comment without a name is love listening to the Davanos, and I agree there. Good taste of music. Okay, so what do you guys have coming up? What's on your docket for gigs and where you're playing? And I know you play casinos, and I keep wanting to get out there, but I never seem to make it, but I will eventually.
We're there this Thursday at Tulalip Casino. 8:30 to 12.
Every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday, yeah.
Every other. Great. That gives me some time to get there.
And
Yeah.
and see, Wednesday we're going to be at Tim's Tavern in White Center, 8 o'clock to 11.
We're there almost every other Wednesday too.
And then on Saturday we're playing at Spada. It's the old Stewart's in Snohomish. I wanted to get Spada Farmhouse Brewery at 709 First Street, Snohomish, Washington.
I know that place because that's where I think, I can't remember if it was Duval or there that I met Fred. He was playing with the Shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's quite a place now. They have some interesting food. I enjoyed that on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, who's playing?
So we do have a few more comments. Let's see, Davanos Rock. And
Thank you. We try.
I can't quite read this last one. I am. This print is very small, and I've got pretty strong glasses, but I can't always read these comments. So if I didn't get to your comment, Libby, these guys can help answer it later. She said, thank you. I also was one who commented, silly boys always, before I saw the naming thing. Oh, that she was saying that she saw where she could put her name in on StreamYard to get in to be identified, because now her picture comes up and her name. So just a clue if you're seeing this. So we were going through gigs. What is, I removed myself accidentally. What are some places that they can find your information? I think I put some of it out there. I don't know if I got all of it, Jerry, or Greg or Fred, whoever wants to talk here.
Just call Jerry. He's at 337.
Or we can just give you your address.
Well, I mean, our whole schedule, it should be, I gave them all our dates through the December, are at Davanos.com. That's DAVANOS.com. That's DAVANOS. That's DAVANOS. That's DAVANOS.com.
What is that thing where you all harmonize? Is that the right on thing when you do that, Fred?
Yeah, that's what we do.
Pick a key there, Jerry.
That's not the right key. Let's see.
Good. You need your pitch pipe, Jerry.
He's got guitars everywhere around. He's just
Yes, he does. He showed me
Right
his.
on.
Right on.
There it is.
Right on.
Oh, that's harder to do in the afternoon than it is at night.
First
Yeah.
one of the day.
You're still tired from the night before?
Oh man, we had well, you didn't. I had
No.
last night off finally.
I played yesterday with the Shortcuts out at the bike show.
Yeah, I saw that. We were busy. We ended up at the Duval because it's closest. But, yeah. I also got another interesting comment for somebody who's almost always on my interviews. He's a great writer, and the band is called Dublin Abbey, and they are. I'm not sure if they've already gone to Ireland, but they're going to make a tour there, and they do a lot of really Irish sounding music. And he said, I want to say I have that Hofner club bass. We use a green one. Cool sounds.
Oh.
Nice.
I love that bass. I bought it during just before COVID, and I just wanted something to play on the when I was sitting on the couch. I had one before, which was the worst bass I think I've ever had. And then I saw this thing, and I bought it because I thought they were just such a cool looking bass. They looked like a Les Paul. And I bought this thing, and it was the absolutely nicest bass I've ever played. I mean, it's the least expensive guitar I've ever owned. It's one of the European ones, not European, Asian ones, not one of the, German Hofners, but it just played wonderful out of the case. And I still use it a lot. I love that bass. Plus it weighs 4 pounds, where most of my basses are anywhere from 8 pounds on up. So that's a huge difference for an old guy like me that doesn't get around much anymore.
Oh yeah. I don't believe it.
No, it's wonderful. I love that thing.
Yeah, Jerry was just showing it in the background. Now I don't know the first thing about a bass, but I had one once, and I did one song with our bass player. I played the bass for his song, "You Look Beautiful Tonight," and that's the only time I've ever touched it.
Man.
Oh.
So one of the questions I usually ask, and I hope the guys listening don't get bored with this, but I always ask each one of you, what was your best time experience in all of your journey through music, your music? What was the best thing that ever happened? Maybe an aha moment or something that said, "Hey, I think I'm doing the right thing," and also the worst moment. And at this time, I'm going to start with Fred right in the middle, and then go to each side. Fred, what is the best thing that made you feel like, wow, what a moment?
Oh,
Or were there a lot of moments? I mean,
yeah, there's moments, yeah, in every band and everything that you do, just different times. You have it on stage sometimes. I still get in awe when we got it going on, and it just all feels so. It's like, wow,
Yeah, magical.
I can't believe that I'm involved with this.
that's cool. Have you ever fallen off that drum?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding? Of course I am.
I had to catch him once.
I think I
Really?
knocked it off once too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He knocked me off once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
hired
yeah,
this-
I've taken just a few weeks ago. I took out the whole left side of my kit,
Oh,
but I jumped off. I didn't fall, but I knew I was going, so I committed and jumped off. But I still knocked down everything. But yeah, it happens. Before
Was that-
when my legs, me and Phil Blodgett, the guy I played with in Stone America, we made a bass, a thing that holds my bass drum, because I kept stripping out the legs. So now it's sturdy.
Yeah.
And Jerry used to hold it with his foot when I went and jumped up on there. And then sometimes he'd roll it back and forth and see how good my balance was. But Yeah, I'm gonna have to do more yoga. That's good for balance.
I hired the shortcuts at I live in a 55 plus court in Redmond, and I hired the shortcuts to come and play for the people here. And they're still talking about him standing on the drums. And I see that you do it too, Jerry, when you put your guitar up here, but I have never seen you put your guitar on your top of your head while Fred is taking his drumsticks and hitting it.
Yeah, I hold it up. Yeah, I hold it up, and then he plays his drums on it. And yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. Okay. What was the worst time, Fred, with falling off that drum?
No, that's always fun. I don't know. Playing when you're actually playing, there's no really bad times.
Yeah.
I mean, there's long times on the road or whatever, but and it's to be a little boring sometimes. But I mean, yeah, cops come shut you down. It's that's not a bad thing.
We were playing at a car show out in Bothell, and I guess we were too loud because the cops tried to bust us. So I get that cop thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
Jerry, best and worst.
Oh,
I think
man.
I've asked you this before.
Yeah, and I don't know if I told the same story or not, but I had, one of my first shows I ever did, I did a solo at Shoreline High School in the auditorium there, and it was all musicians, all guitar players, and I was the youngest one there. I think everybody was either 18 on up, and I think I was 13 or 14. Anyway, I was playing a 12-string, and I played a song I'd written, a little instrumental, and then I played a song by Bread called If, and I was so nervous that I thought everything started to go black on me, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to pass out. I was that scared, and I'm going to fall off the stool. Well, something kicked in where I'd never really played, in something like that before, and the sound of the room, and it was so big, and it sounded so great to me. All of a sudden, I just kind of shot back up, like I loved it, But at first, I was so nervous, I didn't know if I could get through it. So I guess that's best and worst in a way. I got to, when I was in the Dusty 45s, we opened for Adele and got to see, we did like 12 shows with her and something like that, 10 or 12. And from Vancouver, BC down to LA and then Vegas and Salt Lake City. But I mean, to be at that level was pretty amazing, and then playing at Greek theater and seeing all these movie stars out there, that was a little surreal.
I get that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Dwight Yoakam came backstage. And
cool.
If he could, we're in the green room. He comes back and, hey man, can I use your can? I'm like, yeah, you're Dwight Yoakam. Then he comes out and he goes, hey man, can I get one of your waters? I said, yeah, you're Dwight Yoakam.
What Dwight wants, Dwight.
Yeah.
I guess that leaves us to you, Greg.
Boy, I've been trying to think of, I've been fortunate enough to have some really, really cool things. I mean, I've opened up for a number of bands over my 60 years of playing. And I always tell people this, when I was younger, there was a lot of pressure. You get to a certain point in your career and you're touring or recording and working for a label, and they're spending a lot of money on you. And there's a lot of pressure. And now that I'm a retired guy and fallen back into playing music again, I'm having more fun right now than I ever did when I was younger, because I do this because I love it. And when I got into this band, these guys treated me like brothers from the first night I played with them. And it's, when we're cooking on stage, it hardly gets any better than that.
Yeah.
It really is almost a religious experience. And the worst is I can remember this. The band I was in called the Generations. We had a couple of 45s out back in the 60s. Some school won a contest for, I guess, the best attendance, and they got to have the Generations play for an assembly. And I remember we played for them, and I was still, 16, 17 years old. And I was playing keyboards, and we were doing Light My Fire as kind of a end to our set. And I'm, going for the, come on, baby, light my fire. Right then, my voice decides to crack, because I was at that age where your voice is changing.
Yeah.
And it went from being the coolest guy on stage to looking like the funniest thing. And I just remember everybody laughing. And I'm just going, oh my God.
Peter Brady moment.
Oh, it was a Peter Brady moment. It was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me on stage, except for the time I played a whole night and realized I had my pants on backwards. It was the parachute pant type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. But no, that was the worst.
Oh my gosh, those are some great stories. Lippy says it's just great, guys. So interesting to hear your stories, and I agree.
Thank you.
The next thing I'd like to know about each of you is how do you connect to the audience, or what do you feel when you're connecting with the audience when three of you are playing and you have them in the palm of your hand? Who wants to go first?
Fred. I call him the Incredible Fredible.
My thing is to go out and have fun. And hopefully that's going to make somebody else have fun. And I can't stop smiling.
See, and that's huge. I mean, he has that smile on his face.
Yeah.
All I have to do is just look back at him, like everybody out in the audience, and they just have this instant, love.
Yeah.
I'm just a lump on stage. I need to smile more.
No, you're not. You're the one playing that lead guitar, and that's amazing in itself. I mean, you don't have to dance at your shows to enjoy the music.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's, it's like Friday night, we were playing for a bunch of people, and they weren't dancing or anything, but when we took a break, they were like, oh my God, you guys are great.
Yeah.
It's like, well, couldn't tell.
Yeah. I turned around to Fred and said, tough crowd.
Yeah. But then I think,
so that's
they
great.
loved it.
I think about the same thing, because I do not dance. I've just, played in bands all my life. So I'm usually the one up on stage, and I feel really goofy dancing. But I love to watch other bands, and just because I'm not dancing doesn't mean I'm not having a really good time. So
Yeah.
I take it that way.
Absolutely.
Oh.
My dancing days are over. My legs are, all the crazy things I've done has caught up with me. Nobody told me you could wear your knees out,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing is, if we're not responding or whatever, we just keep doing what we do.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing. Nobody was out there dancing. I was still standing on my drums. You do what you do every night, whether there's 10 people or whether there's 100 people, and whether they're jumping up and down or whether they're just sitting there looking at you.
Absolutely.
But it's tougher to play when they're just sitting there looking at you. You don't
I know.
feel that love coming
I
down.
get that.
You start thinking about your financial situation.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that I've learned over the years, I kind of scan the crowd, and you can tell the people that are looking at you and smiling back, even if they're not dancing. And then you can also tell nowadays, especially if somebody's on their phone and disconnected from you completely, that's really a bad sign.
We call them blue faces.
Yeah, blue faces.
You see that glow on their face,
If you're on that phone, it better be to text somebody and tell them to come down.
But I have to admit, of all the bands I've ever been in, this band has the most incredibly loyal fans I've ever seen.
Yeah,
that we've got some people that I see almost every night that we play, and almost no matter where it is. I mean, they could be 80 miles apart, the different clubs, and I will see some of the same faces, and night after night, and it's nuts. I love it. And they're gotten to know so many of our fans, and it's just wonderfully great people. You know,
Best fans ever.
Yeah, I've never, you know, you can feel the love in the room, and you really do. You feel a real connection with a lot of our fans.
Yes, exactly. What's the most people? What's the biggest crowd that you've ever had? How you know? Have you ever played a really large venue? And you can each answer this separately.
As the Davanos?
Yeah.
Well, I would say both. In your life and as Davanos.
Oh,
Greg, you want to go first?
oh God, I think probably when I was opening concerts for some different acts, and you know, I think the largest was like close to 20,000, but you know, that was back in the 70s. You know.
You know, that's funny. You asked that question. Somebody had asked. I was with Roger Fisher from Heart, and they asked us that question, and I answered, "Oh, I don't know, 10 or 15,000 maybe," and then Roger answers, "I think 300,000."
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. I mean,
I know.
crowds don't upset me anymore. But you know, I do feel like my mouth gets dry. You know, but I do show my nerves in other ways. So I think we haven't answered the biggest crowd question all the way around the room, but let's add to that. How do you responded in the past? Jerry's already told me, and you know what happened to him. He almost landed on the floor, but so.
What's the question?
The largest crowd.
How many people? Yeah, the largest crowd, and how your nerves. If your nerves came out, we know from you that you almost passed out, and then you kicked in, you know, to where.
Yeah.
But you know, I think all of us have a moment where we have to do with nerves. I don't care who you are; it just happens, and you know, like you recovered really quick. So the question is. Have you ever experienced those nerves and how you in a large crowd, a large group of people, and how did you handle it?
Tequila.
Gosh, you sound like Billy Shue. Every time I tell him a problem, he says, "Just do tequila."
Yeah.
Not a shot in a beer can.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like when we did, and you know, like opening for Adele. I wasn't really nervous, you know, but because it's the band. But if I was up there by myself, just doing acoustic, I'd be pretty damn nervous. But yeah, you know, and I'm not.
I get it.
So tequila does help at times, just not too much. Fred? What do you say if you? What's the clown juice saying?
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's talent juice.
Talent juice.
Talent juice.
And if you have too much, it turns into clown juice, and you don't want that.
No.
You know, I've found that I've played in front of some really large audiences, and I surprisingly, and I'm not, you know, I was surprised that I wasn't more afraid. I just got this feeling of euphoria, and certainly could hit notes that I couldn't hit on nights when you know, a regular night, but I get more afraid and nervous playing in front of a bunch of people that know me. Like say classmates or people from my past,
or your brothers or sisters,
or family. I'm much more nervous playing in front of them than I am in front of people I don't really know that well.
Well, Fred, do you ever get nervous?
I don't really get nervous.
I wonder why that is.
I just
first he has a discussion with the coach, and then everything's fine.
But it's like. That's where I'm most comfortable is behind drums. So that's where I feel at home. So yeah, you can't really touch me back there.
Yeah, you're in the safe zone.
I'm in my safe zone. I'm all good.
You ever had anything thrown at you?
Oh yeah, we had gas thrown on stage one time, but
some gas.
Gas. Oh my God.
All right, how do you guys handle women?
Man.
Don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah. That ship is sailed.
That's a quick question. All right. So, what advice would you give people who are watching that haven't seen you, first of all? And what advice would you give them if they're just trying to get back into this, depending upon whatever age they are, or just starting? Start with you, Jerry.
What advice would I give them? What age are they?
I would say the people that I've had on here, probably I'm going to say 18 to 100.
Well, that narrows it down.
Oh yeah.
If you love
Gosh,
it, go for it.
you know, you just have to get out there and play. And you know, a big part of it, marketing, which is I'm not not my strong point, I should say. I don't get on, as you know, Messenger and Facebook all as much as I should, I suppose. But
Yes, I know.
yeah. You just have to get out there and play and get your name out and let people know who you are, I suppose.
Stick around 20 years. And
Yeah.
then, you know,
Yeah.
Fred, you next.
I just say, you know, if you love it, go for it. You know, because it's a rush every time. You know,
Yeah.
I get goosebumps sometimes when we're playing, because I love to play. It's like, what's your favorite song to play? It's like the one I don't know, the one I've never heard. You know, those are always good.
And you know what?
Oh,
What else too? And I have this quote right here. It's a good for that your question. It says, "The question isn't who is going to let me; it's who is going to stop me."
There you go.
Yes, I agree. How would you answer that, Greg?
I would say, as long as you are strong enough to get up on that stage, you've and got something to say or sing, do it. I gave up music to go into television in my 40s, thinking that I was way too old to play music anymore. And it wasn't until I retired that my girlfriend told me, she goes, "You should get back into a band," because that's where she had met me when we were little kids. And I go, "Oh my God, I'm too old to do this." And then I started seeing other bands and I go, "I'm about that age." And I'm having more, like I said, I'm having more fun now than I ever did when I was younger. And when you're up on stage, I'm look inside looking out. I'm in my 20s again. It does that to you. You know, it keeps you young. And yeah, I can't imagine not doing this anymore. You know, it's just wonderful.
We have to say hi to Sophia.
Oh, hi, Sophia. I see you again. Hi, girl.
Oh,
We heard your little bark.
Oh yeah.
That's Jerry's baby, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess we got 3 minutes left. So we're really getting close to the end here. And I can understand. That's why I called it matured musicians, because as you start your journey and you move along, and it is definitely a journey, your music matures. And it doesn't matter what age. I mean, some of these people, I heard a 16-year-old boy playing the drums out at Duval on Sunday night. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's he going to be like when he's 18? You know, and he's having a hard time finding places to play in because of his age. They don't want to let him in. I told him the Oxford would. But yeah, I don't think there's any time limit. And I agree with you, Greg, about that.
Yeah.
So in closing, I don't have any more questions. You guys have been great to interview. But do you have any last words, starting with Jerry and moving around?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute, Jerry. The reason I'm switching screens back and forth is because I couldn't get these guys on the computer. So I get out of the picture so you can see them better and they can see, because trying to look on a telephone is not always easy. Okay, last words.
Come and see us play. Come and say hello. And hopefully tomorrow night at the Oxford, 6 o'clock, I can talk these guys into joining me on the open mic. And maybe we'll see you there.
I just want to thank everybody that's watching and listened to us over the many years that we've been playing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we only got we're nothing without people coming out and seeing us,
Mhm.
you know, and really, really appreciate all your patronage and your support.
Yeah.
So thank you. Right on.
Right on.
Right
Yeah,
on.
I that's my thoughts exactly. Like I said, I've never been in a band that had better fans than this. And when they are there watching us, it makes you feel great. Because I know it's an amazing feeling knowing that people have gone out of their way to come see you perform. You know, there's a million good bands in this town. This is the Seattle. I've never seen a music scene like this. It's incredible. And the fact that they took time out to come see us is wonderful. You know, makes you feel great.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I hate to end this because there's always so much more to say. I know if people say an hour, well, how are you going to do that? You know, it goes by really, really fast. So thank you for coming.
Well,
Thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there only
All
one
right.
thing?
I
Yeah,
guess
just
there's
say-
only one thing left to say, and that's
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Peace.
All right. See you at the Oxford, guys.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the show for this time around. I have a lady coming in next week, Memorial Day. She can't get out to see the show because she works, but she does have that day off, so she'll be with us. I can't remember her first name, but her last name is White Wing. She's also quite a great singer, so you don't want to miss that interview. Bye, all, and thanks for listening. And I really appreciated having the Davanos on. They're so much fun. Bye-bye, guys. Let's see if I can get out of here easily.